Good morning, everybody. It has been a minute. I'm sorry. But Key Glock has dropped the album, Glockaveli, and my favorite track on there is called Sunny Days. The sample in that beat is from Bobby Hebb. The song is called Sunny. It's one of his most popular songs. So I picked a deeper cut from him to sample for this beat. So for this sample, I had to chop it by each like 2 or 4 bars to make sure it time stretched properly.
Because when there are live instruments being played, a lot of things are going to be off time. So you got to stretch it manually to fix it. Right here, right here, right here is different chops. Just to get each section to transition smoothly into the next one and also not throw off the rest of the beat. I went to go cut out the low end as standard with all the melodies just to make sure your 808's not clashing. And then I also took out some of the highs to make it sound a little bit more sampled, like you got it off of vinyl or something.
And then I used a sound shifter to pitch it down 1 semitone.
The reason I did this instead of just going down here is because I had like 8 different chops of the sample that were all made unique, and I didn't feel like pitching it down 8 times. So I just put it in the sound shifter.
Now you say that we are through. You found somebody, but still you ask me, what will I do?
So right here I have an intro section. Right here I got this basic string pattern. And then this next chop is with some vocals in there.
Don't know what you gotta do, you lose it.
To complement the melody, I went into my Accent Essentials Volume 2 kit and got this chord, just to add a little bit of depth in some sections. And then I got this top layer key from my Grace Phrase kit to put on there just to add a little bit more depth. It's stuff that you won't really be able to hear, but it adds just a little bit of touch that will make it sound different from the last section. Next I got this layer piano. Then I went into my Signal drum kit, which just came out, by the way. The link to that will be in the description. And I picked out this snare. The original sound of this snare is at C, but I pitched it down a bunch. And then I also layered the second snare. For this snare, it has a little tail, so I took that out so I could have just the snare with it. Then I got this hi-hat pattern with a few rolls here and there. I like these one-step stutters. They're really useful just for adding a little bit of bounce, but nothing too crazy. Then we get into one of the more fun parts. I went into Sim Synth and I got this bass deep saw preset. It was a little bit difficult to find the root notes, so I really just had to play it by ear. But this is the pattern that I got.
Right here, I just switched these notes up a little bit and then played with this half step just to add some variation, not playing the same thing over and over again. You'll see that's a key thing in my beats is I don't like it to be super repetitive. You want it to be repetitive, but you want it to be just barely noticeable that it's different. And for this next section with the vocals, the bass pattern changes up a little bit, so I use that as an opportunity
to make this little run with the bass.
You don't know what you got until it's gone.
And what was cool with this pattern is I still had that first 4 bars the exact same as the other 4 bars in that other pattern. Then I changed it up, and for the last bar I brought it back home to the same thing so that the pattern throws the listener off a little bit, but at the end of the day it's still the same beat. It's not doing anything too crazy. Next, that's standard for Memphis beats. Gotta have a kick pattern in Memphis beats. I also see a lot of producers have their kick pattern the same as their 808 or bass pattern, and you really don't want to do that because you can use your kick and your bass for different sections.
There might be a place where I want to have just the bass and no kick, or there might be a place where I want to have just the kick and no bass. And if they're playing the same thing, you're just doing that over and over again. Me personally, I don't want to hear that anymore. I don't want to listen to 3 minutes of the same kick pattern over and over again. And so going into that, I add this 808. It doesn't sound super good with the kick, so I just keep the kick hitting on the 1 and the 5.
So it adds some punch when the first 808 hits, but then the rest of it, just the 808. Next I put down this open hat as a crash. This open hat is from my Signal drum kit. The open hats in here are crazy. I'm just give y'all a little preview. Hey, if y'all want your beats to sound unique, this is the perfect kit for you, I'm telling you. Then next, I got this second open hat pattern. You can barely even hear it, but it's there. Another thing I found super common in Memphis beats was this snare roll right here. It just transitions to the next section, makes a little build up to a drop, but I didn't want that going the whole time, so I chopped up the pattern a little bit here. So it's still a build up and a drop, but it's a little bit different and it's less impactful.
Because you want a song to be high energy, but for a song to be high energy, you need the low energy too. So this is the low energy right here, and then high energy right here. And at the end of all that, I just dragged the sample out
and made a little outro. And finally, I added my tag. Started using the sound effect as my tag. Well, this is my tag. I just put a bunch of effects on it and made it into a riser so that when I send a tag beat to an artist, they don't even hear it as a tag. They think it's untagged. The link to my drum kit will be in the description. I have a secret discount code for the people who watch my YouTube. So if you watch this far into the video, use the code SIGNALYT20 and you can get 20% off your purchase on dnxdonotcross.com. And I hope that helps some of y'all out. This is really like the best kit I've ever released. I'm super proud of it. I use it in every single one of my beats. And that's about all I got. I'm gonna let this beat play and I will see you on the next one.
But still you ask me, what will I do? This is all I've got to say to you.